Hi, my name's Little Fellows. Welcome to the Gadget review of the Blackberry Passport. Could this be a takeoff device for Blackberry, or could it get grounded? Let's find out. I've had the Blackberry Passport for about 2 weeks now, and it is a great feeling phone. It's a solid metal frame all the way around, has a soft touch back, and it's really nice to hold. It is a two-handed phone, and it is a sizable phone, and I've had a few comments from people saying, that's a massive phone, but I suppose a lot of the phones in this market are going this way. It is, of course, the standard size of a Passport, so it fits nicely in your pocket. Now, looking at the outside of the device, there's a micro USB charge and sync port, an on button on the top along with a headphone jack across from that, and the side has a volume up and down button, and in between that, a pause and play button. Now, one of the big plus points of this phone is its really nice detailed screen. It's 1440 by 1440 square IPS screen with a PPI, which is pixels per inch, of 453, which is pretty insane. Mostly this screen is great for documents, PowerPoint, Excel docs. Not bad for videos. The screen is so detailed, it does give you a nice crisp view, and it's got good viewing angles because of that IPS display, but obviously it's not widescreen, so it's not perfect for watching videos, as you're still going to get the black bars above and below. Although the audio on this thing is great, the speakers are really loud, really crisp and clear, and great for showing people things in noisy environments. 3.5mm headphone jack. And then on the right hand side of the device you have an on button and the volume buttons. The keyboard on the Blackberry works really well. It is a two-handed keyboard, so you are going to have to hold it two-handed. One-handed it's just a little bit too awkward. Having the spacebar in the keyboard on the third row actually doesn't get in the way and works quite well. The keyboard also has a touch sensitive layer, and if you turn it sideways, you can see here you can scroll really easily up and down web pages or documents. When using the keyboard, you can either press the backspace button to delete, or you can swipe left across the keyboard to delete whole words. You can also use the touch sensitive layer on the keyboard to move the fine point marker when you're trying to edit documents, although this can be a little bit fiddly, and it is kind of annoying sometimes when you go to type and it moves the cursor on screen. Now onto the apps, you get access to the Blackberry World App Store, which gives you access to Blackberry's native apps, and the Amazon App Store, which gives you access to thousands of Android apps. Both of these app stores cover most of the apps you want. You get Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Tumblr, WhatsApp, etc. Although there are some, like the Facebook and Twitter apps, that feel like old versions compared to the iOS and Android versions. Now, some of the apps are missing here. The YouTube app just points to the mobile version of YouTube through the browser, and you have to use a third-party app if you want to watch YouTube videos in HD. Now, unfortunately, there's no Google Play Store here, so you're lacking in apps like Snapchat, Instagram, BBC iPlayer. Now, you can sideload these apps. I used an app called Snap, which gives you access to the Google Play Store. Although the Amazon App Store is a big step forward, it doesn't quite fill in for some of the missing apps on the Google Play Store, and the native Blackberry apps run much better anyway, so most of the time you'll find yourself trying to find a native Blackberry app. The Blackberry comes with a virtual assistant, which is a lot like Siri. How old is Benjamin Netanyahu? It works well, although I didn't use it a lot, to be honest, but then again, I don't really use Siri or Google's voice thing either.
The answer is 65 years 2 days.
Now, moving on from the apps and onto the Blackberry OS itself, you have to use swiping gestures to get around a lot. It did crash once or twice, to be honest, when I used too many apps, and usually that was the fault of trying to use an Android app. The Blackberry had lots of nice small touches, like for example with the alarm clock app here, where you can simply move around the time you want your alarm to go around rather than have to click in and fiddle around with AM, PM and what time exactly. When I first got the Blackberry, I thought I really wanted it to be running Android because it seemed like a really nice working device to get stuff done, but I was a bit worried about the apps. The Blackberry OS has changed my mind a little bit. It is a nice OS to use, and it does have better app support than I thought it would, although I still think if it was running something like Android, it would be better because it'd have a lot more access to apps in the proper Google Play Store. The Blackberry Hub works quite well. It's a nice unified way of sorting out all your notifications from things like WhatsApp, your text messages, your emails. It's really nice, it works well. It's a bit better than Android and iOS for organisation, although it's not as simple as just swiping down from the top to see what notifications you've got. Another thing I liked about the Blackberry OS was the file management system. Here you can see I've got Dropbox and Box synced up, and it works really well. It just integrates into the file manager as if it's just another folder that you can access. The Blackberry Blend app is a way of accessing your texts and emails through your computer and replying to them straight away. It worked well, it was good enough, but it didn't have access to things like WhatsApp, so you couldn't rely on not entirely using your phone. Now onto the cameras. It's a mixed bag because the back camera is a 13 megapixel with OIS, it's good for video and it takes quite nice photos. The only problem is sometimes I found the focusing to be a little bit slow even in quite well lit areas. Also, when you're launching the camera it can be a little bit slow to start up. If the camera was quicker to launch and it was a bit better at focusing, then I'd say this was a really good camera, but to be honest it's just a good camera. Now the front facing camera is okay, but it's a bit poor in low light. It's not ideal if you're into your phone selfies. And just so you can see what the audio and video quality is like for the video and what the quality is like for the photos, here's some examples. It's just an example of the 1080p video at 60 frames per second, although once it's on YouTube it'll probably be more like 30 frames per second. This is with a softbox light, which you can see there, but if I turn that off, just to give you an idea of what it's more like in with just a normal bulb up there, as you can see it still performs quite well. Just needs to refocus there. It's not too bad focusing, sometimes it does miss the focus there. As you can see from some of these sample photos, the photos come out well, they're clear and quite colourful, and when they do focus, they're very crisp and sharp. So far so good for the Blackberry. It's a nice device, although it is a little bit let down by the camera and the app support, but one thing where it really shines is the battery life. In the 2 weeks of using it, I never had a day where it ran out, and it did go 2 days once with one charge. Now having a great battery life is a killer feature for a phone like this, which is designed for productivity, and I think that's something to remember. This phone is made for productivity and actually being able to do things on the go, rather than being designed just to consume content like other phones are that it's being compared with. It's not really meant to compete with those phones, it's just another option in the marketplace. Now going on to the storage on the device, it is a 32GB inbuilt storage, and you can go up to 128GB on the microSD card slot. Another thing a lot of reviews forget about is the call quality, and primarily this is a phone for calling people, so that's really important, and it is really good. It's really clear when you're listening through the earpiece, and it's also really clear when you're listening through the speakerphone, because the speakers on this are really loud and clear. It comes with 4 inbuilt microphones as well to make sure they can hear you too, so I expect this device to be featured on the next Apprentice sometime soon. Another small point to make is the Wi-Fi on this device is really strong. I found it a lot better than my HTC One, which seems to struggle in my house on the 3rd floor from the Wi-Fi router when I'm trying to play a HD video, whereas this never buffered at any point. I think Blackberry have done well here. They've tried something new and it works really well as a business productivity phone, and I could see this being a really great company phone actually. It does lack on the apps, and it does lack with the camera, and of course you have to put up with the square screen if you do watch a lot of videos. This isn't going to be the phone for you if you're used to your iPhones or your Samsungs, but it is a good phone for productivity, and it's great because it's got a keyboard and it's good for getting stuff done.